And also I wanted to ask you, because you mentioned that, of course, you have in this project many women in many different positions. You've been in many different positions as well. Now, I'm asking you in the context of your project and women, but I think this applies to every kind of situation. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. But when you go through different positions, I think that you always get the chance to learn a lot from.
Yes.
Not just, just because you're a race director doesn't mean you don't have to understand anything else. If anything, knowing all those other positions gives you a lot more background. You've mentioned that you've been a marshal and you've done all sorts of positions. How much does it help a race director to have actual experience in those jobs? As you said, the driver doesn't just land into a race car.
Exactly.
You don't just land into a race director position.
I think it gives you the knowledge of how everyone gets the information and how all of this information is then like transmitted into race control, and also of how when I started, I was a runner, which in what you do as a runner is you just bring papers all over the racetrack. Now we are lucky that papers are no longer on racetracks, so that's a job that's like slightly disappearing. But with that, I was just running from timekeeping to race control to get the results signed, then like doing 500 photocopies to get them everywhere. But with that, for example, the first years, I got to know like everyone working at the racetrack. So
it's
people working in the press room that like I never go to the press room, so I would only see them whenever I would go there to bring them papers. The speaker of the circuit, which is like the voice that you always have. I always tell Cesc, like that's the voice that I have in my head whenever I go to a racetrack. It's always his voice, and then like getting to know him and understanding how he works, what he needs, what kind of information he needs, what kind of images he needs to do his job. And I think it was a good way like to learn how all of the racetrack works and all of the information is shared within everyone. And also the other part of the job as a runner is to bring decisions to the teams, which is now called a competitors relation officer, which is now like a really fancy name. Now it's a really fancy name, but it's simply that, like bringing the papers to the teams to get them signed. And that's what got me to know a lot of people, teams, team managers, drivers that I now work with, and they knew me as a 16-year-old running around the paddock, bringing them papers and decisions. And I think it's really good. And that's for sure the part that got me like to learn a lot of English, learn a lot of languages, and to meet people that then got me opportunities to work in other championships. But I think it's great to have it, because then when you're acting as a race director and you see everyone else, you know the tempos of everything.
How
so
long
you know,
does it take to get this
done? You know what you can rush, what you cannot rush, when you can shout at someone because it's taking so long, and when it's just like making this clip takes 2 minutes. Like you cannot ask it faster because it takes 2 minutes. It's just like that. And I think it's really important to understand the job of everyone that surrounds you, just so you know that the timings of the things, and that things can not be like instant.
You were speaking about your job as a runner, and I have to tell from my point of view, because I used to be in a team as well, and I wish I had someone like that, because I was being the runner. I was the one running to get that information, because no one was bringing it to me.
I have to say, I still do it. I still run everywhere.
I think we all run in a racetrack.
I still run everywhere, and I still like whenever like the stewards need someone to bring papers to do something, I'm still always the one that says, just give it to me, I'll do it.
I'll be
just
quicker.
Give it to me. I always have that. I'll be quicker. Just don't worry, I'll be quicker. I'll do it myself. Or I'll just go run upstairs to timekeeping to get this done, and I'll come back running. And there's like, no, but there's someone that does it. I'll do it faster. I'll do it faster. It's fine.
And make sure you head over to the Spanish F4 YouTube channel where you can catch the full chat between Alex and Neus, our youngest ever female race director. But with that out of the way, it is race day for race 2 and 3 of the Spanish F4 Championship here at Jerez. And what a way to kick off the weekend was our race yesterday. It was full of fireworks from the get-go. And if you didn't watch that, make sure you catch up and make sure you watch the replays from the race yesterday as well in your spare time. But we will try and catch you up as best as possible. It was Jan Piriowski who started on pole position yesterday, but after issues from the start and a stall on the grid, we quickly found him out of the race. He'll have a restart of it though, and he'll have a chance to redeem himself as he'll start from pole position once again today for race 2 of the Spanish F4 Championship here at Jerez. Alongside him on the grid, it will be Rene Lammers that will join him alongside once again, looking to redeem himself from yesterday after a jump start on the grid gained him a drive-through penalty in the race. And the man who was on the ground to call us through all of it as well, Alex is down there ready to chat and give us the latest from the ground at the circuit. Obviously, a lot that went on yesterday and a lot of racing that needs to be taken into account going into the race today. What do we think is going to happen today, Alex? Obviously, not quite sure who's going to come out on top of this one.
Buenos dias, Kai. Good morning, Kai from Jerez. Of course, we saw a fantastic race yesterday. I love how you described it, because it was definitely fireworks that we saw here throughout the whole race pretty much, but especially with that ending. And I'm not going to spoil it further for those who didn't necessarily watch it yesterday. As you said, make sure to catch it up on your spare time between race 2 and race 3 today. But yeah, no, absolutely. It was great to watch. To see a new winner. Again, I'm not going to tell you exactly how that went on for those who didn't watch it, but a new winner in Formula 4 Spanish Championship. Jan Eijkmans did a great job. And of course, I have to feel for Jan Piriowski. He's been quick, he's been efficient, he's been effective on qualifying, but somehow the races, luck hasn't been there, not at all. And you have to feel for a driver who puts on an effort and he makes the work and he prepares the car and everything seems to be prepared to get a good result, to get some race wins, and they've been eluding him for a while now. That said, this is the position where he will be starting from, on that inside line on the starting grid, which we see his car arriving right now. And as you know, we always talk about betting some healthy vegetables, and I say this man right here may earn me a couple of them today. So I think before you ask me, I'll tell you that's probably my bet for today. I think he's been really hungry, if we keep that topic of food. He's been really hungry for success, and I don't see any reason why he couldn't be the winner today.
Yeah, I feel like he'll have in the back of his mind that he needs to redeem himself from yesterday and get himself into a much better position if he wants to be scoring points and wants to be competitive at the front of this championship. Now, talking about the front of the championship, Jan Eijkmans, after that debut race win yesterday, now finds himself second in the championship as well. So 2 Belgians are now leading with Thomas Strauven and Jan Eijkmans. And with that newfound confidence, do we feel that's going to drive him even further for Jan Eijkmans, Alex? Because obviously with a race win under your belt, you've got to push on further forwards.
Absolutely. And I was talking to some of the Belgian media just a few weeks ago, and they were so enthusiastic about this prospect for them. Not just because Thomas Strauven is dominating the season. He'll have a little bit more work today because he's starting a little bit further behind, especially on that qualifying that didn't go exactly as other races have gone for him. But also with Jan Eijkmans, because he's just a rookie. He said it best yesterday. 1 year ago, he was starting that single-seater career for him on that Richard Mille Academy success that spearheaded his progress into the Formula 4 Spanish Championship. And just 1 year after that, he has his first win. He's second in the championship. And yes, it's true the title is too far from him. But for a rookie driver to finish that first season as runner-up, that would be mega for him. And you have to consider, if you're a rookie and you finish second in the standings, that's grounds for keep climbing, so not just staying here for next year. So we're talking about most likely his only Formula 4 season. This is very impressive, and I have to say that I have my eye on him for the remainder of the season. Not just on him, of course. If we talk about rookies, we cannot forget about Miki Blascos as well, young Spanish karting driver who is joining the fray this weekend. He did a very good qualifying yesterday with that top 10, and which has been P12 for the race 2, or the shorter race, considering that we have that second best lap to decide the starting order. Qualifying 2 for the last race of the weekend has been a little bit trickier for him, but it is definitely a man to keep in mind for the future, especially if he quickly learns to get along with the car. Also remember, he's not driving for Campos and MP and those bigger teams here in Formula 4 Spanish Championship. He's a Monlau driver, of course, Monlau Competición, a team that's known, a squad that's known for their experience in GT cars, in touring cars, in single seaters as well recently. But they haven't necessarily been a strong force here in the championship. So seeing a man like that being able to get quick from the get-go, that is also very exciting. And it shows that karting talent just keeps on coming. We can never be too far away from karting because we always have exciting talent joining the grid. And that, I think, is the most exciting thing for next year.
Yeah, the Spanish F4 Championship really is a breeding ground for all these drivers here. Obviously, Miki Blascos was able to pick up P13 in the race yesterday, just shy of points on his debut. Alex, thank you very much for your time, and I'm sure we'll hear from you later on in the race. Although a little bit of a shorter race, as mentioned just there by Alex, 25 minutes plus 1 lap for race 2 of the Spanish F4 Championship here at Jerez for round 5. As the drivers are now on the grid and just ready for the lights to go out before this formation lap can get underway. The crowd out in attendance and flooding the stands as everyone wants to watch along and get a bit of the action out on the circuit. On the circuit, though, it's Jan Periovsky who starts on pole position. René Lammers alongside him with Juan Cota and Nathan Tai in behind. Ian Eichmans will start from 5th, yesterday's race winner from Noah Montero, Christopher Elfagali, Nicolas Schaufler, Renaud Franco and Thomas Stralvin rounding out the top 10 for the front 5 rows. So a lot of drivers that we will have to keep an eye on throughout this race. As we mentioned, Miki Blascos starting a little bit further back, 1 position further back than he started yesterday. It'll be 12th place on the grid for the young Spanish karting talent for Monlau Motorsport. We'll see what he's able to do in this race, and I'm sure he will be picking up a few places here and there if he's able to find himself carving through the field in this race. It was 2 safety cars which were deployed in yesterday's race. One was right off the start with a collision between the Brazilian of Miguel Costa and Jan Periovsky off the line. Obviously, Periovsky completely stalled from that pole position spot yesterday, and Miguel Costa, nothing he could have done, blind in the dust, and went completely into the rear end of Periovsky's car. Obviously, both drivers walking away from that one all right. So great to see that both drivers were okay from that one, and the teams have done a great job to get these cars ready for racing action today. At the end of the race, if you missed it yesterday, Thomas Stralvin did a great job at cutting his way back through the field, and a last-minute maneuver for the move of the race, managed to get himself up into 2nd position in that one. Juan Cota also followed through into 3rd, and Nathan Tai ended up picking up 4th position, with Renaud Franco, who was looking for a podium, dropping down to 11th in the end after a nightmare last couple of corners. He'll be looking to redeem himself from that, starting from 9th on the grid this time. And the number 11 for the MP Motorsport colours. Let's see what he's able to do in this race. There is the number 81 that we're having a look at, just rounding the final couple of bends as we're getting ready onto the grid now. That was Noah Montero in the Campos Racing livery. So, as the rest of the field round the final corner now and get ourselves ready in position, Jan Periovsky already gridded up, and a little bit more waiting to do before those lights head onto the gantry. It's all a mental game. He needs to keep himself calm here and composed. He doesn't want a repeat of yesterday. And I'm sure with the caliber of driver that he is, we won't be having the same problem. It's just a small mistake yesterday and an easy fix. But remember, anything can happen here off the start. Rounding off the back of the grid, there will be the number 15 of Rafael Ferreira. As we make our way onto the grid, safety car returns to the back. Green flag is flying, which means it's eyes to the gantry, and the lights are on, lights are out, and we are racing. Piriovsky, is that another stall? Yes, it is. He doesn't get away again. It's a repeat of yesterday, yet a nightmare for Jan Piriovsky as he doesn't get away off the line. That hands the lead there to Rene Lammers as he manages to get himself into the first bend. But oh my word, if commentator's curse wasn't a thing already, Jan Piriovsky doesn't get away from the line again. It's a nightmare start there for Piriovsky, but we're fighting through the field as the number 71 is trying to get involved in some of the action and get stuck in. That looks like that's going to be as well in the background. It's Spina making his way through as the drivers are squabbling all for position. The lead is handed to Rene Lammers, Kota up to second, and Ty up into third. Watch in the background. Eichmann's just in behind him. He has Schaufler and Alpha Gali going side by side. Down the inside. That's a lockup in the background there from Schwartz as Hudson Schwartz nearly goes straight on into the back of Trapper. A little bit of dust being kicked up in the background there as drivers are going side by side, all trying to squabble and get themselves into an order come the end of this first lap. But Jan Piriovsky, this time it's not a collision and a crash, but it is himself dropping down into 11th position. So giving himself a world of work to do if he wants to make his way back up through the field. We were just looking at him there, peering down the back end of Trapper, which Schwarzer was able to just get back moments ago. Out in front, Lammers has a nice little bit of a gap back to Juan Cota in second, down the inside. That's going to be a late move in the background as we're still looking at Piriovsky there. What a nightmare for him. Straubing looked like he was trying to get that move done on Franco. Not this time round, though. Schwarzer still all over the back of him. Let's keep an eye on this one. Schwarzer on the attack. Will he get the move done? Yes, he will. Very nice textbook overtake there from the number 48 of Trapper, making his way through as well. Straight back on the defense, but on the inside he goes. Piriovsky making his way back through. But they go side by side. Trapper, will he hold on to that one? Looks just about so. Trapper just about holds on in front of Piriovsky for now. But Jan Piriovsky wasting no time at all at going straight on the attack and trying to regain the track, which he's already lost. Side by side in the background again, on the inside, on the switch. Trapper comes back through. Watch out, Piriovsky back on the inside. Here comes Blaskos as well as a yellow flag is out. 2 cars around. That looks like that's the number 88 of Grotta. Who's that with him? Is that Felbermeyer? It looks like it may be. So the number 88 and the number 55 are both round. Grotta seems to have not got going again. We'll keep an eye on that one. But what's happened there seems to have stalled the car in the middle of the circuit, has the number 88. But out in front, Rene Lammers just cutting away from the rest of the field. Green flag is out, and it looks like we will get a restart there from Grotta, who will get going once again. Good to see that he was able to recover that car from a difficult position. Down to the first corner we go. Out in front, Fiorentino managed to make a move on that last lap on Spina. Spina losing out on the inside. Big lockup. Still, all these drivers in the mid-pack getting involved in this battle. As we see it raging on, here is a restart. And Jan Piriovsky, what a nightmare for him once again. Brilliant reaction times from the driver that started in 3rd position of Juan Cota to manage to avoid that one. And into the pit lane. Who's that that's pulled into the pits? That is Felbermeyer, who had that contact with Grotta just earlier on. He pulls into the pit lane. And that front wing not looking like it's in the correct position that it should be. On your replay, though, we were just looking at that battle between Trapper and Piryovsky as that was raging on. That was a replay of some of the moves earlier on. They'll get a new front wing on that machine for Felbermeyer. And I think they'll check for any more damage. Is there any issues? You'll get the car restarted and we'll get going again. So Felbermeyer pulls out of the pit lane, but he'll be very, very far off the back of the pack. Not the start he would have been hoping for, an unfortunate contact. Now, we do have a note from the stewards that the starting procedure is under investigation. Now, yesterday, the starting procedure was also under investigation, and René Lammers was the driver that was handed a drive-through penalty for a jump start. So has there been another driver that has jump-started on this grid? Fingers crossed that is not René Lammers again, because it could be a carbon copy of yesterday. Lammers did have the lead quite secure yesterday until he was slapped with that drive-through penalty for a jump start. It looked pretty clean this time round, though. As we're just watching the driver circulate in your pictures, that was the Road and Motorsport driver of Nathan Tye, as he finds himself in third position, one place higher than he started, that being because of Jan Piryovsky's stall on the grid. But quite strung out in the front end are we now. Lammers just trying to take care of business and cut away from Juan Cota in behind. This is the battle that we need to keep an eye on. Ian Eichmann's ever so closer to the back of Nathan Tye, lap after lap. And Christopher Alfagali in behind him, not making things easy at all. There is the red Richard Mill car. Obviously, Ian Eichmann's, as we mentioned yesterday, was the Richard Mill Young Talent Academy shootout winner here at Jerez. And that was what awarded him a fully funded season in Spanish F4. At the same track where he picked up that victory to fund his season, he picked up his first victory of the Spanish F4 season. And René Lammers looking to do the same. The Dutch driver in the number 9, he's already picked up 2 race wins this season, trying to make it 3. But Thomas Strauven, if we look a little bit further down the grid, our championship leader is outside of point scoring contention. Now, hat given to him, he did start a little bit further down the grid in 10th, did Thomas Strauven, but he hasn't been able to gain any positions, actually losing one from the start. And the way that things stand, no points will be awarded his way. But he does have a 100-point lead in the championship. Another driver in the pit lane here. Who is that? That looks like the number 13 of Jerez. And yes, it is. The driver in the number 13 car of Jerez is in the pit lane, unfortunately. So a few drivers having issues with damage and having to pull into the pits. Jerez not as quick to get out of the grid this time round. The G4 Racing Machine, a new team to the grid this weekend and not having easy issues at all. But the racing still continues on, and this is the battle once again between Piryovsky and Trapper. This time round, Piryovsky gets the move done. So Piryovsky past Trapper. Schwarzer is also passed, as Thomas Strauven also there in 11th position. The two Griffin Core drivers just sandwiching that Drive X machine of Trapper. And Trapper still not able to get past Piryovsky just yet. We're watching them through the final bend here. Thomas Strauven looking very menacing on the back of that Drive X machine. We'll have to see if he's able to make any maneuvers down into turn 1 as we peer on. The Griffin Core machine, will it opt for the inside line? No, it won't. Not too close this time round into the first corner. But we watch on through turn 2. This is a replay here of that battle that was going on. As just a little bit wide they go. Continuing on, great move to opt for that inside line. Jan Piryovsky showing his experience in the field Obviously not a rookie in the Spanish F4 Championship, and showing that he knows to put the car in the right position to take advantage of his competitors, and does so that time round, picking up 9th. With Trapper in 10th now. Strauven still close in behind. In behind that, though, another move down the inside, as that looks like that's going to be a move there from Cantan on Blascos. That move signed, sealed, and delivered. And no issues at all. Just a textbook overtake down the inside. You couldn't ask for anything more when you're picking up a position. As Cantan gets himself up into 12th position, Mickey Blascos down into 13th. Still an honourable drive on debut. But through the chicane we go towards the final corner. This is the mid-pack battle that we're looking at raging on. Out in front, it's still looking like René Lammers is going to command this victory, but a long way in this race. We're still not even halfway through. 14 minutes and 20 seconds is what is remaining on the clock right now. And Nathan Ty looking like he's just backing into danger right now, as Ian Eichmans is getting closer and closer, ever so slightly marginally closer lap by lap. It's not much at all, but it all adds up over the course of the race. Eichmans on that previous lap about 0.05 of a second faster than Nathan Ty. And that's all that you need to bring down the margin. As in the background, we just keep an eye on that battle as well. In front, P1 still Lammers, then Kyoto. Ty, Eichmans, Elfagali, Schaufler. Then we're looking at this battle. Franco can't defend, as down the inside goes Hudson Schwarzer, and we'll hold on to that one. Franco tried to hold it on the outside, but I don't think he was quite expecting that dive bomb from Hudson Schwarzer on the inside. As Schwartz just able to pick up that move, and no problems for him. Round the circuit we go. Up front, what has happened, and where has Ian Eichmans gone? What has happened here? Ian Eichmans has disappeared out of our picture. If we look at the top 3 there, it was then Ian Eichmans. Nathan Ty still in 3rd. Let's have a look at this replay from Schwartz. Just got to that inside line and pushed his car, and you can see Ian Eichmans slowing down there on the exit of the corner. I didn't catch that the first time round. So was there a mistake from Eichmans, or is there a technical issue? Into the pit lane comes Ian Eichmans. Eichmans into the pit lane, and what is the issue here for the Belgian? It was a fairy tale of races yesterday, but for today, to kick off his Sunday, it's a nightmare. Dreams and nightmares this weekend for Ian Eichmans as he picks up his first win and then retires in the second race. It doesn't look like we're going to get this race restarted for Ian Eichmans. As into the pit lane, we just saw him very, very slow off the back end of turn 7. We could just see in the front of the picture, Schwartz made the move on Franco, and in front, Eichmans, with the recovery lights on the back of his car, was slow coming off the apex of turn 7. And into the pit lane he comes. A suspected mechanical issue there for the Belgian in the number 4 machinery. And you do have to send out your condolences to Ian Eichmans. That is gut-wrenching to see after the perfect start to the weekend yesterday. With all of his family watching along, it will be a retirement in race 2 for Ian Eichmans. But he's still got one more race to go this weekend, and one more race to look forward to. He can definitely recover some good points in race 3. But race 2, it will be a non-score for him. And what was a very shortly lived P2 in the championship, as we're looking at another move down the inside. Looks like that is going to be Mickey Blaskos getting his elbows out as he gets the move done. So Mickey Blaskos getting the move done, and Noah Montero. And it looks like we're going to get a word down in the pit lane. Eichmann's in the pit lane, Alex. Do you have any word on what's happened down there?
We're watching Ian Aikman's car right now. We were seeing the mechanics working on that car. They were connecting the laptop to the electronic system of the machine. They were checking. We saw when the car slowed down coming out of the hairpin that was having some of the lighting behind flashing. That's usually a sign of some electronics issue. And we saw that the first thing that mechanics did when they checked the car was not necessarily open the engine cover, was not necessarily checking anything mechanical itself. It was mostly focused on all the electronics, which sadly seems to have been the issue. Of course, now with Ian out of the car, that work will shift to checking everything else. But of course, that's unfortunately a retirement for him today.
Yeah, not the second race he would have been hoping for, but battle still continuing on in the track right now. As we can see, the number 23 getting involved in a battle. But Ian Eichmann's out of the race, unfortunately, with electronic issues. Alex, thank you very much for your time. As we're still watching this battle continue on, Jan Piriowski is eager to gain as many positions as possible right now, as he's just trying to fight his way through is the number 23. Renault Franco in front is looking strong and just about holding on right now as he's placing that car in the perfect places, ever so slightly, just maneuvering so that Piriowski has to respond to every single maneuver of that MP Motorsport machine. But he's been at it for quite a few corners now as Piriowski. To the inside goes Franco, back to the outside he goes. Renault Franco just doing all he can to try and throw off his competitor. A sniff to the inside line. Piriowski thinks better of it. He stuck his nose on the inside line there, did Jan Piriowski, just to let Renault Franco know his intentions are clear and he wants past. But with 8 minutes left on the clock, how will this battle continue to develop? Piriowski, it has been a very strong recovery drive from the man who started on pole position. He's back up into 8th place. Thomas Straubing now finds himself in a point scoring position as well, 10th. Leaders now onto the straight and across the line. But we are focused on this battle solely. In behind Thomas Straubing and Renault Franco as well, though. Trapper and Straubing are also trying to get involved in a little bit of a scrap between them. Franco, middle of the track, push to pass available to the outside. Will he be able to get that one done? That's going to be a tricky maneuver as the door is shut firmly in the face of Piriowski. Piriowski to the inside. Franco covers. Renault Franco putting on a defensive masterclass here, making that F4 car the size of a school bus. As it looks like there is no way past the MP Motorsport machine right now, as Franco is just desperately hanging on to 7th position right now. And this is just letting Trapper, Straubing and Canton in behind get ever so closer. Franco left and right, left and right. Piriowski, no clue where to go. But he's got to be careful as he has quite a bit of pressure from Trapper in behind now. As Trapper arrives onto the back of Piriowski, all of this defending from Renault Franco is just letting the drivers in behind train up and pile up in behind, making the pressure worse and worse. So what can Franco do here to try and hold on to this 7th position? You'd think this was a battle for the lead, the way that Renault Franco is defending it. But at the end of the day, every position you finish higher is more points that are rewarded towards your championship bout. So in a way, I don't defend Renault. I don't complain that Renault Franco is defending his position. Oh, there's a spin in the background. Who's that? That's went round. There goes Renault Franco. So after all his defensive efforts, he'll drive the wrong way down the circuit to try and get back around. Here comes Trapper. He's having to defend here now from Stralvin. Stralvin's trying to get involved. But what happened there to make Renault Franco go round? As Franco drops down the order, Piryovsky up into 7th. He gets going again now. Was it just all the pressure piling up onto his shoulders and him caving? Or was there contact between Piryovsky and Franco? Either way, that battle ended in Franco facing the wrong direction. And that's not what you want to see as a racing driver. In the background, we're just looking. Stralvin under pressure now. Down the inside. That's going to be a move there for the number 2. Canton gets the move done on Stralvin. Canton on the inside line. Finds his position. Hits his braking markers. Little bit of a lock-up from the front left. But no issues. And that bubble over. He still gets the move done on Stralvin, our championship leader. And Thomas Stralvin just struggling little by little now, as it doesn't seem to be the weekend for him. It was a great back end to the race yesterday as he really picked up the pace in the final moments, which found him on the podium. But other than that, it's been a difficult weekend in terms of pace for Stralvin as he finds himself down in 10th position right now. Out in front, it's been pretty smooth sailing for René Lammers, as he's had no problems at all. The Dutch driver in the MP Motorsport colours. Not his debut season, but he did make his debut in single-seaters in this exact championship. It was last year in the Spanish F4 championship. Last year, he finished 13th in the standings in Spanish F4 with no wins to his name. This year, it is 3 wins to his name right now, and also much higher in the championship. But here is the replay. Let's keep an eye out for Renault Franco as they make our way into the final corner. Oh, yeah, and it was just an issue under braking. That's very rare to see from a driver such as Renault Franco. Was it a lock of the rears? I didn't see any smoke come off the brakes there, so maybe just too hot into the corner and carrying too much speed to the apex. Either way, Renault Franco, through no fault of anyone else, finds himself pirouetting round the wrong way. But René Lammers, his best finish in the Winter Series was 6th. No wins last year. 3 to his name now, looking to make it 4. Sorry, 2 wins to his name right now, looking to make it 3. As Juan Cota and René Lammers have just been trading lap times as this race has went on. 1.3 seconds is the gap that separates the top 2 right now. Fastest lap is going the way of the Spaniard in second. But down to the first bend. Very strung out now. That battle in the background is still continuing on between Canton and Stralvin. Stralvin, I'm sure, will be eager to get himself back past and get an extra point towards his name. As that move from earlier from Canton just drops Stralvin down into 10th position. Noah Montero wasn't quite close enough to gain an advantage from that maneuver being put place. Through the order we go now, just up at the front end. We're keeping an eye on the Red Bull Junior drivers. Quite a few that are competing this weekend. But at the front of the field, it's looking like experience is showing as our top 3. No rookies are currently competing within the top 3. This is who we are keeping an eye on. The number 2, Canton and Stralvin. Number 2 and the number 99. Stralvin being our championship leader, Canton being quite further down. But it clearly doesn't matter. When you're on the circuit, it's all down to the raw pace of the moment. Canton down in 10th in the championship for the American driver. This year, transitioned into the single-seater category with Campos Racing in this championship. Before that, no taste of single-seaters. This is his first time taking step into open-wheel racing outside of karting. And he's doing a very good job, is Vivek Canton. But with the clock just ticking down, this will be the penultimate lap of the race, 20 seconds remaining. And Rene Lammers looking set for a third victory this season. In second position, the Spaniard of Juan Cota. He picked up a podium in third position yesterday. He's going to do one better today in second. And with one more race to go, can he do one better again and get himself a race win in the third race? Anything is possible. But it's going to be second place for Juan Cota. Nathan Tai will come home in third position after he managed to get himself up into a podium spot. Unfortunately, at the aid of Jan Piriovski stalling off the line. But a great recovery drive it has been from Jan Piriovski to get himself back up into seventh position and into a point-scoring contention. It was looking like the race could have been thrown out the window in those first moments like it was yesterday. Luckily, wasn't collected by another car this time. Did drop very much further down the order than he would have been hoping for. But he's still able to take home a nice little haul of points at the end of the day. Rene Lammers just taking it smooth through the final few corners before taking us onto the final lap of the race. No need for him to be pushing the car too much right now, as the number 9 will negotiate his way through the final corner and onto the home straight to mark the final lap of this race. Across the line he goes and up towards turn 1. Juan Cota still 1.4 seconds in behind. He's a little bit too far out to be thinking of anything on this final lap. Nathan Tai with daylight in front and daylight behind. It's just going to be a cruise to the line for him. Christopher Alfagali, I'm sure, will be a little bit upset that he fell quite short. In the earlier moments, it did look like Alfagali and Schaffler would be putting a little bit of pressure onto the back of the Brit in third. But that amounted into nothing, and actually a gap forming between them and the number 46. Hudson Schwartz put some brilliant maneuvers on display throughout this race. He'll come home in 6th position, with Jan Piriovski in behind him. A little bit of a gap is what separates them, about 2 seconds between Hudson Schwartz and Jan Piriovski. Schwartz obviously being the first to pull the trigger and get that move done on Renault Franco before Franco started backing up the rest of the pack and defending like his life depended on it. In the end, though, one mistake is all it took for him to tumble down the order and promote Piriovski up into 7th. Everyone in behind also benefiting. Where did Renault Franco drop down to in the end? Is 29th position. So definitely out of the ordinary for the Frenchman. Renault Franco, the Dutch driver of Renault Franco, obviously in 7th position. But onto the home straight we go. It's Rene Lammers, from what he felt would have been taken from his grasp yesterday. It was a drive-through penalty that robbed him of the win. Today, no issues, but out at the final corner, someone very, very slow. Who's that? That's slow out the final corner. And an issue towards the line. Was that Noah Montero? That looks like that could have been the number 81 of Montero, slow out the final corner. As Montero looks like should have finished a little bit higher up, but slow across the line. Maybe an issue there for the Campos Racing machine. Even so, it's redemption day for Rene Lammers, as he's able to get himself that race win that he felt was taken from him yesterday. And there is the slow Red Bull Racing machine. And it is the number 33 that's parked up. So that's Christopher Alfagali. So Alfagali, who was looking to finish 4th, has now dropped down into 7th position. So what is the issue there that Christopher Alfagali has picked up out of the final corner? That does promote Schaffler up into 4th place, Schwartz up into 5th, and also Jan Piriowski up into 6th position. Out of the car, and looking quite condemned. I wonder if that's another electrical issue on show. It looks like it could have been a powertrain issue for Christopher Alfagali. We won't find out just yet. But the car just grinding to a halt as it was very, very slow, creeping across the line, as you could say, for Christopher Alfagali. But the driver that takes home the top step today, it's Rene Lammers. He'll peel us away into the pit lane. Juan Cota will come home in 2nd from Nathan Ty in 3rd. And that's going to be your podium for the 2nd race, the shorter race here of the Spanish F4 weekend. 25 minutes plus 1 lap is what leaves us with this order. Juan Cota, arguably the fastest driver on the day, but Lammers able to take advantage of everything at hand as he pulls in. Round of applause all around, and it's very much deserved for a commanding victory for Rene Lammers. He started in 3rd position. He got the jump on the line. Sorry, he started in 2nd, got the jump on the line, obviously with Piriowski having that problem. And from there, it was a light to flag victory. Picture perfect, as his celebration shows. No faults at all for Rene Lammers, as he's embraced by his team for a 3rd race victory this season. And that's a nice amount of points to add to his name. Another 25 going his way. And if I am correct, that actually promotes Rene Lammers into 2nd in the championship. With some quick maths on the fly, it's 157 points there for Rene Lammers. As Nathan Ty goes over, he's congratulated by his team, and also his father, Nathan Ty Sr., has a little bit of a quick debrief and a quick chat as well, as we have a look at some of the replays here from the race. The celebrations still continue on for the drivers, but let's have a look at what left us with this finishing order, as there was plenty of overtakes and plenty of battles on display. That was Mickey Blaskos, the rookie for this weekend, really putting a show on display. Some great maneuvers from him. And we will catch up very shortly with our race winner of Rene Lammers. I'm sure Alex will be down there waiting for a chat whenever we're able to grab Lammers for a conversation. Renault Franco, it was a defensive race all the way, but the replays will continue. But it's down to Parc Ferme, where Alex will catch up with our winner.
Exactly, we're here with race 2 of the weekend winner, Rene Lammers. Rene, it's been a while since I've seen you here, and not just because, of course, the long summer break. What a way to come back after yesterday, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's been a long time since being here, so it's good to be back, and I think we can keep going forward like this for the future. And yeah, yesterday was a bit of a shame that we got the drive-through, but I mean, yeah, today we showed that we can do it, and hopefully in the next race later this afternoon we can do it again.
We know that obviously in terms of the championship, the advantage that Thomas Strauben has is difficult to cut down in what's left of the championship, but how important would it be to secure that 2nd place in the end?
Yeah, I mean, we know Strauben is quite far in front, so to beat him is quite unlikely. Who knows, with a bit of luck, but quite unlikely. But yeah, that 2nd place is something that's probably my goal for now, since P1 is quite far away. So now I'm just going to try to maximize the rest out of my season and yeah, hopefully finish P2.
Expectations for the 3rd race later on?
Well, I'm starting P5. We know that we have good pace, but you know, maybe with a good start and good pace, we can move forward to a podium or whatever. We'll see.
All right, Rene, time to enjoy for now. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So our winner of the shortest race of the week, and of course Rene Lammers, who knows the realities of the championship, and it is true that Thomas Strauben is very, very far away, but he said something that's very important. You never know, with a little bit of luck, and if you do things right, things could happen. So that is probably the right attitude to have, especially after winning this race, and trying to win, I am sure, as many races as he can before the end of the season. He has been one of the quickest drivers this year, especially on those run of first few good results at the beginning of the year. He had a little bit of a slump, but he's back in pace, so
keep an eye on him.
Yeah, 100%. We need to keep an eye on that name. And it's one name that we're familiar with, Rene Lammers. But another name that has been in our mouths this weekend, Alex, Jan Piriovski. He'll start on pole this afternoon for the third race. Is the third time the charm, Alex? Because obviously 2 stalls is not what you want.
That is definitely not what you want as a competitive driver, especially. I mean, no driver, of course, wants to have 2 stalls. But when those stalls come starting from pole position, those are heartbreaking. And I can imagine that on the third race, he'll be, I should guess, pretty nervous, because when you've made the same mistake twice, can you imagine making it 3 in a row? Well, statistically, I have to say he will probably not have the same issue on the race later on. Then again, 2 is already challenging the odds, so let's see how that ends up panning out. But my heart bleeds for him, because that's definitely not what you want to see for any driver, because we like to see them winning or losing, but always on track, not on those kind of situations.
Yeah, horrible to see. But Alex, thank you very much for your insights once again and for that chat with Rene Lammers. The drivers in their debrief room now, in the cool-down room, just having a little bit of a chat between them and getting ready for the podium as well. Just to recap there for the race, our podium will be Rene Lammers on the top step with Juan Cota and Nathan Tai filling up the other 2 positions. It'll be the Dutch national anthem that we hear today after the trophies have been handed out. But as we mentioned, a nightmare for Jan Piriovski. 2 races, he started on pole position, and 2 stalls off the grid. This time it wasn't a crash. He was able to recover to 6th position for some points to go towards his championship belt. But third time, will it be the charm? He's got another chance at it. He'll start from pole position for race 3 later on. But race 2, just not the luck going in his favour once again. But Rene Lammers, as he mentioned, unfortunate with the drive-through in race 1. But he's able to take that confidence from race 1. He knew he had the pace coming into it, and he's able to pick up another race victory. 3 race victories to his name. It's been a while, but he'll pick up 1 more, and it'll be the top step of the podium that we see the Dutchman flying on for the podium, which will just be coming in a few moments. Thomas Stralvin, our championship leader, managed to bring home a point in the end there in 10th position after his battle with Vivek Kantan. Those 2 were going back and forth for the whole race. Vivek Kantan just about coming out on top in that battle as he came home in 9th place, getting 2 points towards his name as well. Thomas Stralvin, he will not start from further down in this third race. In qualifying earlier on, managed to get himself P2, so it will be a front row of the grid for our championship leader as he'll kick it off from the front row, will the Belgian, and try and recover as many points as possible. But one name which was an absolute nightmare, and it's not Jan Piriovski, who you'll see stall off the grid here. It was Ian Eichmans from what was a dream day yesterday, picking up his maiden victory in the Spanish F4 Championship. It was a retirement today from a suspected electrical problem. And that's what we saw him jump out of the car for. A little bit of dust being kicked up off the start there as drivers were squabbling for multiple laps, trying to get themselves ready in order. There was Ian Eichmans, and it was a spin in the background from the number 88, which caused the problem between Grotter and Felbermeyer on the inside. Piriovski didn't have it easy at all, as we saw Trapper getting involved in this battle. A nice little battle evolved there between Trapper, Piriovski, and also Stralvin, as those 3 were going back and forth for the whole race, as you'll see continuing on here. But a move down the inside. That was Thomas Stralvin just making his way through the field, and Mickey Blaskos doing all he can to gain as many positions as possible. Hudson Schwartz, with a brilliant maneuver, just secured himself on that inside line and dominated his way to that apex as he made his way past Redo Franco. This was Ian Eichmans trying to go on the outside. No, that's Mickey Blaskos, who was forced off the track there. Was Mickey Blaskos, unfortunately, the number 25. But in the end, it was the checker flag that flew for Rene Lammers as he managed to pick up a third victory this season. Juan Cota with the fastest lap to his name, but it's second place on the grid and running very, very slow to the line. Christopher Elfagali, he was looking for a fourth position finish, but an issue out the final corner demoted him down into seventh in the end in the Drive X machine. So I'm sure the team will have a little look at that car and see what the issues was there for the number 33 coming out of the final corner. It looked as if he even ran out of fuel out of the final corner as that car was just running on dregs as it just clunked towards the line. Crawling over that checker flag was Christopher Elfagali. Unfortunately, bringing home less points than he would have been hoping for. Cool down room is still taking place in a little bit of a debrief. In your picture there, you can see Rene Lammers and Juan Cota, the two drivers side by side, P1 and P2 in the race, as they're having a bit of a chat now. As our camera just picking up the insights of everything that goes on in this room. The drivers having no privacy at all, and I'm sure every moment is on display. A bit of a drink is needed, as body fluids will have been lost throughout that race. A lot of sweat in these hot conditions. 24 degrees air temperature, 31 degrees track temperature. So still quite a warm climate. Not as warm as yesterday. It was 33 degrees air temperature yesterday. So the drivers, I'm sure, will be grateful for it being a little bit cooler today for their racing conditions. Not quite as strenuous on themselves. And a sighing, a breath of relief will be Rene Lammers. After what he felt would have been his race to win yesterday, he manages to win it in race 2. He was saying he's going to look on to the third race, hoping he can do it again. But as he mentioned, starting a little bit further back in this one, he'll be starting in P5 for the race later on in the third race later on. There is Nathan Ty. He'll make his way out towards the podium as we will get ready for the celebrations and for the presentation as well. The MP Motorsport driver there of Juan Cota and Rene Lammers as well. Just getting ready for their names to be called as they make their way out towards the podium. Trophies, champagne will all be awarded towards the drivers. And also, don't forget about the team trophy, which is awarded to a team representative from MP Motorsport. Out onto the podium he goes, and we'll follow him out. Rene Lammers is our race victor there from race 2 in the Spanish F4 Championship. As that will be our podium. Rene Lammers on the top step, Juan Cota in second, and Nathan Ty in third. The team representative makes his way out from MP Motorsport as well. A great race from the team. Now, drivers that are P1 and P2 both representing the MP Motorsport colours. As the drivers will patiently wait for their trophies to be awarded out. A smile on the face of Nathan Ty, and that's exactly what you want to see from the driver who manages to take home a podium and a nice haul of 15 points to go towards his championship belt. Currently 5th in the championship. It won't gain him any places this time round, but still setting himself up nicely for the final 2 rounds, which will follow after this one. A shake of the hand, and the trophy awarded for 3rd position to the British driver. It will soon be going towards the Spaniard. For 2nd place, our driver, which just fell short of a race victory, Juan Cota. It was 3rd yesterday, 2nd today, and he'll be awarded the trophy now for that one. A great drive there from Juan Cota. Didn't have much troubles from behind, but was trying to chase down the back of our race winner. That man there, Rene Lammers, will get the P1 trophy. He hoists it above his head. And a large round of applause. Very, very happy with that race result. The hats will come off as we get ready for the Dutch national anthem.
aplauso para Netherlands y para este podium, evidentemente, de la carrera.
As the Dutch national anthem concludes, the celebrations will still continue, but the drivers can't get too ahead of themselves as they still have another race later on. The pictures will be taken with all of the drivers and the team representative on the top step as well, as the champagne will very shortly follow. You don't want to get your suits too wet or sticky, as there is still another race that they have to spend in the cockpit for a large amount of time. As the photos are taken, the champagne comes out, and the drivers, I feel, are getting ready for the celebrations, opting not to spray each other as they don't want to be too wet with champagne for the race later on. However, the team photographers and team representatives not getting away too lightly with that one, but great camaraderie between our top three. A quick reminder, Rene Lammers is our race victor from race 2, Juan Cota in second, and Nathan Ty coming home in third. But that will conclude race 2 here for the Spanish F4 Championship. Make sure that you are ready and ready for racing action. Race 3 will come just a few hours later on, and we get ready for that action. 30 minutes plus 1 lap. Who will come out on top? Will it be Jan Periowski? Will it be Rene Lammers? Will it be Ian Eichmans? Or will we have a new race winner this weekend?